My family replaced me with my sister's boyfriend on a trip I paid for, so I walked away, cut off their money, and watched karma destroy the life they built. I'm a 30-year-old dude, and I have always been my family's designated problem solver and human ATM. You know the type, the responsible, one who silently handles everything, while everyone else lives their best carefree lives. Since graduating college, I have basically been the invisible backbone holding my family up financially. Dad is a high school teacher who coaches basketball on the side. Mom works part-time at a dental office, and they have always struggled with money management. My younger brother, Justin, 27 male, is your classic still-figuring life out type who has been floating in and out of community college for 6 years. My sister, Kate, 25 female, she is the Instagram yoga aesthetic girl whose bank account permanently says insufficient funds. The financial support started small. Justin needed textbooks. Kate's car needed repairs. Mom and Dad were short on their electric bill. Normal stuff that family helps with, but over time it morphed into something else entirely. When Justin got kicked out of school for forgetting to submit financial aid forms, guess who paid $7,800 to get him reinstated? Me. When Kate quit her receptionist job to find her purpose and couldn't make rent for 3 months, that was $3,600 from my account. And when my parents' H5C system died midsummer, I fronted $12,000 for a new one. I co-signed Justin's car loan because his credit score was basically in the single digits. I quietly set up auto payments for my parents' utilities after noticing their lights flickering during a visit. It turned out they were 60 days behind. I sent Kate $2,500 for a second car after she totaled the first one by forgetting oil changes were a thing. The craziest part is that I never complained, not once. My grandfather, a tough old Montana rancher type, was my model growing up. He handled business quietly. No drama, no seeking validation, just silent competence. That is how I operated. Take care of your people. Do not whine about it. I make decent money in software sales, not rolling in cash, but comfortable enough to help out while still building my own life. My apartment is modest, my car is reliable but not flashy, and my only real splurge is my hunting gear, quality stuff that lasts. That brings me to what this story is really about, the Montana hunting trip. This was not just any vacation. This was sacred territory. My grandfather built that cabin with his bare hands in the 1970s. 3 bedrooms, hand-cut logs, a stone fireplace that heated the whole place. It sits on 40 acres that back up to National Forest, the kind of spot where you stand on the porch at sunrise and see nothing but trees and mountains for miles. I shot my first deer there at 12, gutted it myself while Grandpa supervised. Every Thanksgiving break since I was a kid, the men in the family would head up there for a week. No phones, just hunting during the day and genuine connection around the fire at night. After Grandpa died, the cabin went to my dad and Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike is cool, perpetually late to family dinners, but never, and I mean never, misses a hunting trip. As we got older, I naturally took over planning these trips, booking the cabin time. Other relatives sometimes use it, making sure licenses and tags were sorted, coordinating supplies. For the past 5 years, I even fronted the deposit, $1,200, that I had wired directly to the lodge office that manages maintenance when we are not there. Was I detail-oriented about it? Hell yes. I made spreadsheets, I had checklists, I mapped hunting zones. But that is because I actually give a damn about things going well, about everyone having a good time, about nobody getting lost in the woods or accidentally shooting themselves because they did not check their equipment. So, when my sister set up a family Zoom in September, I figured it was to lock in dates for the trip. I had already sent in the deposit and I was ready with my planning documents. I joined the call from my apartment, camera on, headphones in, prepping to run through dates, weather predictions, and even who was bringing the damn jerky this year. Dad, Mom, Justin, Kate, all on screen. Everyone seemed weirdly giddy, like they were sharing some inside joke I was not part of. "Hey guys," I said, pulling up my hunting prep document. "So, I have got the deposit in for the last week of November, same as always." I was thinking, oh my god, wait till you hear what happened at yoga teacher training, Kate interrupted, practically bouncing in her seat. This guru from Bali showed up and chose me to demonstrate the advanced crow pose. What the hell? I waited for someone to acknowledge what I had said. Nobody did. Justin jumped in with some story about a professor who gave him an extension just because he liked his vibe. Mom started rambling about a new potato recipe she found on TikTok. Dad kept nodding along, occasionally chuckling like everything was just so damn amusing. I sat there for a full hour, Not a single mention of the trip. Not once. Finally, I spoke up. So, are we confirming the hunting trip dates or what? Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at Justin. Justin suddenly needed to check his phone. Oh, we will figure all that out, Dad said, waving his hand dismissively. You always get so worked up about the details, Alex. Try to relax a bit this year. Will you leave the spreadsheets at home? Kate giggled. Yeah, this year's going to be different. The energy is going to be amazing. Different? What the hell did that mean? The call wrapped up without any actual plans being made. I hung up, feeling unsettled, like I had missed something obvious. The next morning, I texted Justin. So, are we locking in the Montana dates or what? Need to request time off work. No response. 8 hours later, I tried again. Dude, I need to tell my boss by Friday. Are we doing the usual week? Nothing. Radio silence. I figured he was being his usual flaky self, so I called my dad that night, straight to voicemail. Same with my mom. Weird, but not unprecedented. Cell service at their place can be spotty. What was unprecedented? 3 days of nobody responding to texts or calls. Finally, I called Uncle Mike. He's always straight with me. Uncle Mike, what is going on with the hunting trip? Nobody is responding to my messages. Silence on the line then. You did not go with them? My stomach dropped. Go where? To the cabin. They left 2 days ago. I sat down slowly. The cabin, our cabin, the trip we have been doing together for nearly 2 decades. They just went without me. There must be some mistake, I said. Maybe they thought I could not make it. I do not think so, buddy. Your sister posted photos on Facebook yesterday. It looks like they brought her boyfriend instead.
Her boyfriend Chase. Fucking Chase. Let me tell you about that dude.
Chase, 29, going on 19, works at a trendy coffee shop and calls it his coffee artistry career. He wears beanies in summer, has a tattoo of a compass that does not even point north. The kind of guy who calls himself a forest enthusiast but gets winded walking up a flight of stairs. This dude once asked me if elk were just fancy deer and if you could eat bears. He literally referred to deer as forest dogs in a completely serious conversation. The one time he came over to my place for a family dinner, he spent 20 minutes explaining why he does not shower daily because it disrupts your natural microbiome. His idea of outdoor preparation is buying trail mix and a new phone case with a mountain design on it. I have got to go, I told Uncle Mike and hung up. I immediately opened Instagram. There they were, my family at our cabin. Dad, Justin, and Chase posing with rifles on the front porch. Chase wearing what looked like brand new hunting gear, price tags barely removed. Kate's caption, annual Thanksgiving hunting trip with my favorite guys. My hands were shaking. I scrolled more. A photo of them around the fireplace. Chase in the middle telling some story with his hands in the air, everyone laughing. Another photo of breakfast in the kitchen. Chase apparently made pancakes shaped like animals. I texted Justin again. So, you all went to Montana without telling me. 20 minutes later, he finally responded. Thought you knew. Figured you were busy with work or something. Complete. I request this time off every year. Everyone knows this. I called my sister. She actually picked up. Oh, hey, Alex, she said, sounding distracted. Voices and laughter in the background. My cabin, my trip. What the hell, Kate? You all just decided to go without me. Do not be so dramatic. We thought you would be cool with it. You are always so stressed about these trips anyway. Stressed. I plan these trips. I pay for these trips. That is exactly what I am talking about, she said. You make everything so intense. Chase offered to come, and honestly, it has been way more fun this way. He keeps things light. I heard Chase's voice in the background. Is that your brother? Tell them I got a whiteboard and made a hunting strategy flowchart as a joke. It is hilarious. They were literally mocking me, my planning, my organization, the things that made these trips actually successful. Kate continued, we just wanted someone who keeps things fun, not intense like you always are. I hung up. I did not trust myself to respond. An hour later, my mom called, probably feeling guilty. Honey, do not take it personally. Chase really makes everyone laugh. You tend to suck the fun out of things when you are too serious. I paid the deposit for that trip, I said flatly. $1,200, non-refundable. Oh, we will pay you back. Chase brought a whole box of steaks to contribute, like that was equivalent to my financial contribution and years of planning. My dad called next. His approach, son, you just overdo everything. It is supposed to be relaxing. You act like it is boot camp with all your schedules and rules. Rules like, do not point guns at people and check the weather before heading out. Those kinds of rules. Dad, see, this is what I'm talking about. So uptight. I ended the call and sat in my dark apartment. I could feel something shifting inside me. Not rage exactly. Something colder, more calculated. They did not forget me. They did not misunderstand. They replaced me with a guy whose outdoor experience consisted of drinking kombucha on brewery patios. And they did it using my money. But I had enough of their crap. Ever since I became the reliable one, they took me for granted, so that night I opened my laptop and made a spreadsheet. One final spreadsheet. Every automatic payment I had set up for my family, every recurring transfer, every bill I quietly covered, every loan I had never expected to be repaid. The total made me physically ill. $36,782 over the past 2 years alone. I remember thinking, they want Chase's energy so much. Let us see how they like my energy when it is gone. I logged into my bank account and got to work, just precision without hesitation. First up was Justin's tuition account. I had been covering payments through the school portal like some behind-the-scenes sponsor. That access, gone. He will find out when the next bill hits, and nobody is there to foot it. Then Kate's car insurance. She linked it to my card last spring, said she would Venmo me monthly, never did. I pulled the card info, killed the payment method, and blocked the account. Let her figure it out between yoga poses. My parents' utilities came next. I had set up autopay for their gas, water, and electric when they started missing due dates. I disconnected every service, reset every login. If the lights go out, they will know why. The emergency credit card I gave my dad, the one meant for actual emergencies, had slowly turned into his personal tap. I shut it down mid-cycle. No warning, no replacement. And that quiet $350 I had been transferring to help cover their mortgage shortfall every month. The one they never acknowledged, but always counted on, cut off, canceled. It took less than an hour to undo years of support. They never saw it coming, but they were about to feel every single click, all without a single word of explanation. And remember that $1,200 cabin deposit I had paid? I had documentation for it, email confirmation, receipt, bank record. I knew they would not pay me back. I contacted my lawyer friend, Eric, explained the situation as calmly as I could. He thought for a minute, then suggested a simple but beautiful move. File the $1,200 as an official family loan repayment from my sister, since she was the one who had posted the trip photos. We are not suing or anything, he explained, just documenting that she repaid a portion of what she owes you. It is all above board. I did not tell them about this. Just let it process through the system. Legal documentation, a time bomb waiting to go off when tax season came around. Then I waited. It took exactly 9 days for the first cracks to appear. I received a text from Justin. Hey, there is some issue with my student portal. Says payment declined. I read it, did not respond. 3 days later, Kate texted, WTF, my insurance got canceled. They said payment did not go through. I am driving tonight. Need this fixed as soon as possible again. Read. No response. My parents lasted almost 2 weeks before my mom called in a panic. Alex, the electric company says our autopay account is inactive and the gas bill is past due. Is something wrong with your bank? No, I said flatly. My bank is fine. Well, can you fix it? They are threatening to shut us off. I am not fixing it. Silence then. What do you mean? I mean, I'm not paying your bills anymore. Is this because of the hunting trip? Are you seriously that petty? It is not petty to stop supporting people who do not respect me. We respect you. We just wanted a more relaxed trip this year. So relaxed you did not even tell me it was happening. So relaxed you used my money to do it. It is not like that. I hung up. Let them connect the dots themselves. The texts and calls started pouring in after that. Accusations, guilt trips, anger, panic. I muted them all. My dad tried a different approach a few days later. Son, whatever point you are trying to make, you have made it. This little tantrum needs to stop. Yeah, a freaking tantrum. Interesting word choice. Like I was a child refusing to share toys, not an adult who had been systematically exploited, then discarded. It is not a tantrum, I replied. It is a boundary. Then I blocked his number. Uncle Mike was the only one I kept in contact with. He called after about a month of this. Your parents are freaking out, he said. Your mom is crying all the time. Did they tell you what they did? Yeah, shitty move on their part, I will admit. But is not this getting out of hand? Actually, I think things are finally in hand for the first time, I said. They made their choice. They chose Chase. His good vibes do not come with financial support attached. My uncle was quiet for a moment. The cabin was important to you, was it? More than just a trip. It was the one thing I asked to keep sacred, the one tradition that mattered to me. For what it is worth, I told them they screwed up big time. It was not worth much, but I appreciated him saying it. 3 weeks after cutting him off, I stayed quiet. No texts, no hints, just silence. But I needed to see it, not hear about it. I wanted the front row seat to their unraveling. So I made the drive out to the old neighborhood, parked a few houses down just out of view, rolled the seat back, sipped my coffee, and waited. Not out of spite, not even revenge. I just wanted to know what it looked like when reality finally showed up uninvited. It did not take long. A tow truck showed up like a summoned demon. The guy walked straight up to my brother's Subaru, yes, the one I co-signed. There was a whole dance of excuses and frantic phone checks, arms flying everywhere. But it ended the only way it could, with the car getting lifted and hauled off, repossessed just like that. He kicked over a trash can like that was going to change the payment history, then vanished inside. Mail showed up next. My mom stepped outside and flipped through the stack. I watched her stop dead on one envelope, bright red block letters across the front. You did not need to see the wording to know what it said. Her face did all the talking. She clutched it like it burned. Then came my sister, storming up the driveway like a Category 5 hurricane. Different car, definitely not hers. She did not knock, just launched into full volume rage the moment the door opened. Hands flying, phone in one hand like she was holding Exhibit A. I did not need audio. I had seen that argument 100 times. The "how could this happen" meltdown. And just when I thought the show was over, the blue Prius rolled up. Chase, the human Spotify playlist. He went inside for a short visit, left with a duffel bag and zero eye contact. Guy probably thought vibes could pay the water bill. I sat back sipping cold coffee that tasted like the end of an era. No gloating, no high, just clarity. Eventually, my dad came out and sat on the steps. Just sat there, elbows on knees, head in hands. Not the head of the family, just a man who bet on convenience over loyalty and lost. That is when my phone rang. It was Justin. I stared at the buzzing phone for a few seconds, almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me swipe to answer. "What? You cut everyone off?" he said flatly. It was not even a question, just a blunt accusation. "You replaced me on a trip I helped pay for with Chase. Did you seriously think nothing would happen?" A long, uncomfortable silence stretched out. "You did not even ask for the money back," he finally said, his voice weaker than before. "Neither did any of you," I shot back. "Not once, not ever." "This cannot seriously be about money," Justin muttered, almost pleading. "It has never been about money," I said coldly. "It is about respect, something none of you bothered to show me." Another tense pause followed, filled only by the faint sound of his breathing. "Chase bailed," he admitted quietly. "The second things got rough, he was gone." I scoffed softly. "I am shocked. Kate's car got repossessed yesterday." "Sounds rough," I said dryly. "Dad is freaking out about the mortgage. He is literally having panic attacks. Maybe he can make a spreadsheet. I heard they are useful for managing finances." "Dude," Justin snapped, frustration finally breaking through. "You have made your point. This is getting really serious." "It was always serious," I countered sharply. "You guys just pretended it was not because I quietly took care of everything. You mistook silence for simplicity. None of it was easy. I just made it look that way. And all the while, you mocked me for being too intense." "We were not mocking you." "Replaced me," I interrupted harshly, "on our family trip. The trip I partially paid for with a clown who would not recognize a deer unless it danced on TikTok. And now you are surprised I am done funding your lives?" Justin had nothing left to say, the silence deepening between us. Finally, I spoke again, my voice low, steady, and colder than I had ever heard myself sound. "Tell everyone I hope Chase's good vibes can keep you warm when the heat gets shut off." Then I hung up and drove back home, feeling lighter than ever. 2 days after I played silent spectator to their unraveling, a text buzzed in from Uncle Mike. He said there was going to be a family meeting at my parents' place the next evening, 6 p.m. They wanted to talk, apparently. He pitched it as a chance to clear the air. My first reaction: hard pass. I mean, the last time they talked, I ended up replaced and robbed. I texted back that I was not interested in walking into an ambush disguised as a conversation. He replied almost instantly, promised he would be there. Said it was not an ambush, just a mess of people finally realizing they had lit their own house on fire, that I should at least hear them out. I did not respond right away. I let it sit all day. I went back and forth. One part of me wanted to show up just to watch them squirm under fluorescent lights the same way I had while doing their dirty work for years. Another part of me wanted to delete the text, block every number, and pretend they never existed. But Uncle Mike had always called it like it was. Never picked sides, never played games. If he said it was safe, I figured it probably was. So I sent one word back: The kind of reply you give when you are not there to reconnect, just to settle a score. I told him I would be there. I showed up exactly on time. I knocked instead of using my key. Small power move, but it felt important to establish that I was now a visitor, not family. Mom opened the door, her eyes puffy from crying. She moved to hug me, but I stepped past her into the living room where everyone was waiting. Dad on his recliner, Justin on the couch, Kate in the armchair looking sullen. Uncle Mike standing by the fireplace, arms crossed, no Chase in sight. "Where is your vibe guy?" I asked Kate, not bothering with pleasantries. She looked down. "We broke up. Let me guess. When the Wi-Fi got cut off?" Dad cleared his throat. "Alex, we asked you here to talk, not to throw jabs." "Really? Because when I wanted to talk about the hunting trip, nobody seemed interested." The room went quiet. Uncle Mike nodded slightly like, "Fair point." Dad sighed. "We made a mistake. We should have talked to you about Chase coming along." "You did not make a mistake," I corrected him. "You made a choice. Several choices, actually. You chose to exclude me. You chose to replace me. You chose to use my money to do it. Those were deliberate decisions." Mom started crying again. "We did not think of it that way. That is the problem. You did not think. None of you ever do. Not about consequences, not about how your actions affect others. You just live in the moment, expecting me to clean up after you." Justin leaned forward. "Bro, we get it. You are pissed, but cutting everyone off like this? Mom and Dad might lose the house." I laughed, actually laughed out loud. "You think I do not know that? I have been preventing that exact outcome for years. Every month, I have been quietly transferring money to cover the gap in their mortgage. Money none of you knew about because I did not broadcast it. I just handled it like I handled everything." The look of shock on their faces was almost worth the price of admission. "How much?" Dad asked quietly. "How much have you been giving us?" "In the last 2 years, almost $37,000 spread across all of you," Kate gasped. "That is not possible." I pulled out my phone, opened a document, and started reading. "Justin, $7,800 for tuition reinstatement, $3,200 for car down payment, $1,400 for that emergency root canal last year. Kate, $3,600 for rent when you quit your job, $2,500 for your second car, $1,200 for that yoga training you absolutely needed." I kept going, item by item, dollar by dollar. The room grew more silent with each amount. When I finished, I looked up, and all I asked, literally the only thing I ever asked for in return, was respect for our family hunting tradition, the one thing that mattered to me. Uncle Mike cleared his throat. "I think what Alex is saying is valid. You all took advantage whether you meant to or not." Dad stood up suddenly. "Now wait a minute, we never asked for all that money. Some of it you did. The rest I gave because that is what family does, until the family decides you are not really part of it anymore." "That is not fair," Mom said. "The trip was just one thing. It was not just a trip. It was the one time I felt valued, the one time I was not just a checkbook. And you took even that from me." Kate was crying now too. "We did not know how much you were doing for us. We thought you were just being controlling with all your planning and spreadsheets. Those controlling spreadsheets kept this family afloat. But you know what? I am done. I am not turning the money back on. This is not a tantrum. It is not temporary. It is my new boundary." "So, what do you want?" Justin asked. "An apology. Fine. We are sorry. Truly. Now, will you help?" I stood up. "I do not want anything from you. That is the point. I am removing myself from this dynamic completely. You wanted Chase's vibes instead of my intensity. You got it. Deal with the consequences." As I moved toward the door, Dad called out, "There is something else you should know." I turned. "The cabin," he said. "Uncle Mike and I are selling it." That hit me like a physical blow. "What?" Uncle Mike stepped forward. "It is not my choice, Alex. Your dad needs the money now, but I wanted you to know before it happened. The cabin, Grandpa's cabin, the last physical connection to a time when family actually meant something, about to be gone. You are selling it because you need my money, but will not admit it," I said to my dad. "So instead, you will destroy the one thing that might have eventually brought us back together." Dad did not deny it. "When is the sale?" I asked Uncle Mike. "Listing goes live next week. Unless I start paying for everyone again. That is the deal." Dad had the decency to look ashamed. I walked to the door, stopped, and turned back one last time. "Check your loan documents," I told my dad. "The cabin deed. What about it?" Grandpa was not stupid. "When he left it to you and Uncle Mike, he included a clause. Any sale requires unanimous consent from all legal stakeholders. Go ahead, check who those stakeholders are." The confusion on his face was priceless. When I turned 25, Grandpa's lawyer contacted me. I owned 33% of that cabin. Silent, partial ownership. I never mentioned it because it never mattered before. I looked at Uncle Mike. You knew? He nodded. I found out last year when I was sorting through some paperwork. I figured it was not my place to tell you, so we cannot sell without your permission, Dad said slowly. Correct. And guess what? Permission denied. I opened the door. Alex, wait, Mom called. What are we supposed to do now? I paused. Do what normal adults do. Get jobs, pay bills, face reality. Then I left, closing the door quietly behind me. 3 months passed. Winter turned to spring. I channeled my energy into work, got promoted, started dating someone new, a wildlife biologist named Kira, who actually appreciates preparation and planning. I started going to therapy too, which helped me process the anger and learn to establish healthier boundaries. I had not spoken to my family since that meeting. Uncle Mike checked in occasionally, told me Justin had taken a second job bartending nights. Kate was working at a call center. My parents had started selling off possessions to keep the mortgage current. I felt nothing when I heard this news. Not satisfaction, not guilt, just nothing. Then, on a rainy Tuesday, a package arrived at my apartment. No return address, just a small box. Inside was a single photograph, me and my dad shoulder to shoulder holding up a buck we had shot together back in 2019. One of the better trips before things went to hell. On the back, written in my dad's distinctive handwriting, "You were the glue. We mocked you for being serious when we should have thanked you for holding us up." Also in the box, a check for $1,200, exactly the amount of my cabin deposit. I sat with that photo for a long time, memories flooding back. Good ones from before the betrayal, teaching Justin to shoot. Evenings by the fire with Uncle Mike telling outrageous stories that probably were not 100% true, but made us laugh until our sides hurt. The next day, I cashed the check, but did not use the money for myself. I donated it under Chase's name to a wildlife refuge that rehabilitates exotic pets. Chase had once mentioned wanting a pet wolf, so I figured he would appreciate the irony of funding a place that actively discourages idiots like him from owning wild animals. 2 weeks later, I made a decision. I called my lawyer friend again. "I need to buy out a property share," I told him. "Your family cabin?" He guessed. "Yeah. I want to make an offer for my dad's portion, fair market value." "You are not reconciling with them?"
No, but I am not letting the cabin go either. The legal process took time. My dad initially refused the offer out of pride. Then, facing foreclosure on their house, he relented. So I now own 2/3 of the cabin, with Uncle Mike retaining his 1/3. We drew up a formal agreement. I would handle maintenance, and could use it whenever I wanted. He had 4 weeks a year reserved for his use. The first thing I did was change the locks. Then I installed a full solar power system and satellite internet. I also built a new rifle rack with a special place for Grandpa's old Winchester. I also added something new, a workshop in what used to be the smallest bedroom. Grandpa had been a woodworker in his spare time. I never had the chance to learn from him, but I found his old tools in the storage shed and started teaching myself. There is something calming about creating something with your hands, about the precision and patience it requires, the kind of intensity that actually builds something worthwhile. Memorial Day weekend, I drove up there alone, rolled down the windows as I approached, smelling pine and mountain air. I pulled up to the porch where I had watched my family laughing with Chase just months earlier. It looked the same. Weathered logs, stone chimney, the bench Grandpa had carved from a fallen oak. But it felt different now, quieter, mine. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and set down my bags. No family drama, no chaos, no expectations. Just the cabin, the woods, and the freedom of knowing I had reclaimed the one thing that had always mattered to me. That first night, I sat on the porch with a cup of coffee when my phone buzzed. A text from Uncle Mike. "How is the place looking?" I sent back a photo of the sunset over the tree line. "Quieter now," I added. "They are asking about you," he replied after a while, "wondering if you will ever come around." I thought about that, about the family I had propped up for years, about how quickly they had replaced me when I was not fun enough, about how fast it all collapsed when I stepped away. "Not their decision anymore," I texted back. "This place has a new legacy now." I put the phone away and focused on the mountains ahead. No spreadsheets needed tonight, just me, the cabin, and the knowledge that I had finally drawn a line that could not be crossed. The next morning, Justin texted me. "Did you really buy Dad's share of the cabin?" "Yep. So, what now?" "We are just done as a family." I did not answer right away, watched an eagle circle overhead, riding thermals with barely a flap of its wings. Effortless, free. "I am not coming to Easter," I finally texted back.
or birthdays or anything else right now. Maybe someday, but not now. You all need to figure out your own lives without me fixing everything. And the cabin, will we ever be welcome there again? I thought about Grandpa, about what he would want, about the legacy he tried to create. Maybe someday, but not as guests, as equals. People who contribute rather than take, who appreciate rather than mock, who plan rather than just show up expecting everything to be perfect. He did not respond to that. I did not expect him to. That afternoon, I started a new spreadsheet, plans for the cabin, improvements, maintenance schedule, the kind of detailed, intense planning they always made fun of. But that kept things stable and functioning. At the bottom of the spreadsheet, I added a new tab, labeled it Future Hunting Parties. I left it blank for now. Maybe someday, years from now, when they have learned to stand on their own. When they have figured out that good vibes do not pay bills or maintain relationships. When they have earned back some measure of respect. Maybe then I will start filling it in. Or maybe not. Either way, I will be fine because they called me controlling, called me too intense, called me a buzzkill. It turns out I was not the problem. I was the solution they never deserved. And now I was.